If these guys could actually stay on topic, it would be a fucking miracle. We were talking about universal health care. We were talking about wanting our tax dollars to service us as a society. And somebody said that I just wanted free shit. So I did a video replying to that saying, it takes a MAGA to hear a video that says, I want my tax dollars to pay for healthcare for everybody, and then say, I want it for free. And instead of dealing with that topic, instead of addressing that, he goes, this person says, why don't you show the statistic of who's paying the income tax? A lot of people pay income tax. I know what you're going to say. You're going to say the rich pay more income tax than the poor. But as a percentage of their money and as a assessed tax rate, when it's all said and done with, the poor pay more and the rich pay less. But a whole bunch of people pay taxes. Anybody making under $30,000 doesn't pay taxes, and anybody making a shit ton of money has the money to hire the accountants to find all of the loopholes. In between, there's a whole bunch of people paying taxes. I paid a fuck ton of taxes last year. I'm one of those people that would be in that statistic. I paid a shit ton of taxes last year. And that's after having a good accountant find as many little loopholes as humanly possible. What does that have to do with the subject at hand? Which is, we as a society, at least those of us that are sick and fucking tired of paying the most for our healthcare of any industrialized nation, want our tax dollars to service us. See, people like you act like nobody that wants universal health care is paying taxes. Not even close to being the truth. Every single person in my life I know that wants universal health care all pays taxes. And they all pay a higher rate of their money into taxes than the rich people do. When I was working for other companies, my assessed tax rate was way higher than it was. You know what my rate was last year? 14%. 14%. Why? Because I could afford an accountant. When I was a working stiff and, having an accountant do our taxes was really not something that we wanted to spend the money on or could spend the money on, my assessed tax rate was way higher than 14%. The more you make, the more that tax rate comes down, and the more you can afford to hire the accountants to find every little trick in the book to make sure you don't pay any taxes. I guarantee you, I paid more taxes last year than the President of the United States did. If we had a chance to actually look at his returns, I guarantee you that would be the case. But once again, it doesn't address the subject, right? You didn't like the subject at hand, so then you wanted to change it to, well, who's paying the taxes? Stick with the subject, if you can.